This podcast was recorded during the SAG-AFTRA strike. Without the work of the actors currently on strike, Wonka and a lot of the other things we cover on this podcast wouldn't exist.
Bonjour, and welcome to the butcher shop. I am here to offer you a slab of completely made of pork bacon.
Sacre bleu!
Oui, it is pure meat from an animal.
Sacre bleu!
Oui, oui. Anyway, bro, brother, vous voudrez, no, nous voulons beaucoup de meat. Oui. Welcome to Turner Classic Movies. Thank you so much for watching a snippet of Delicatessen. Don't. It's what could. Hi, welcome to Wonka Watch.
Hi, guys. Today we're watching Delicatessen. You may say, why the fuck are you watching Delicatessen? Well, Paul King said, I'm homaging Delicatessen and Wonka, so we had to fucking talk about it, okay?
Is this a movie people will have heard of? I've never heard of it. Oh, so you're probably wondering why we're watching that.
Well,
you're probably wondering, what is Delicatessen?
I'm trying to figure out, how do I title this? Because I'm like, do I title this Delicatessen 1999? Everyone's gonna be like, oh, they went fucking rogue again, like with Alice. And I'm like, no, I'm like the movie that Wonka is homaging 90, which I think we have to do. Which seems, it's not normally our type of title style.
Paul King.
I can't put Delicatessen first, because I think people will scroll. So I think we're going to be like the movie Wonka is homaging Delicatessen. Hi everybody, welcome to Wonka Watch. This is the podcast where we talk about all the Wonka things leading up to the Wonka release, which is a scary amount of time away. It's very soon, and that scares us. But we're living and we're thriving. We're loving and laughing. Living, loving,
That's
and laughing.
exactly what my psychiatrist said this week. She was like, you're
really
live,
living,
laugh,
loving,
loving,
and laughing.
And I think you're cured. And I was like, fuck yeah, I did it. I got a little diploma, and then I burned it while I sobbed.
Wow. Oh my god. But yeah, so today, Paul King did a big interview in Empire magazine, which we're talking about today, and in that, I saw, before I read the article, and like the little snippets they put out before the magazine comes out, they were like, Paul King's homaging Delicatessen and Wonka, and I was like, fuck, alright, and I immediately texted Elaine, I was like, hey, we have to watch this, I think. Thankfully, it's easy to watch.
Yes, it's not Tom and Jerry hard accessible.
Yes, we didn't have to spend money to watch this, okay?
Yeah, which is really
nice. It made this feel a lot easier. So,
oui, bonbon.
I got possessed by the French.
Me when I eat a croissant. I got possessed by the French. Me when I see a snail, but I call it escargot.
I'm sorry, I got possessed by the French. La, 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 la. What's that noise? It's the noise of a musical saw. And the saw is singing to me in a code. What's that? It's singing to me Wonka news. And I'm being whispered Wonka news down the pipes.
Oh, yes. Oh, pss, 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 pss.
Beautiful. So yeah, we're just going to be reviewing the Paul King Empire magazine article. And there's a lot in here, but also a lot we've already covered. So I did not cover everything. I just pulled out new things. The interviewer was having a lot of fun writing this. Oh boy, there was a lot of bad puns in this, let me tell you. So this was the feature, Pure Imagination, written by Chris Hewitt. As Paddington's Paul King sprinkles his magic on Wonka, he reveals the secret ingredients he's used to whip up a chocolatey confection. Doesn't really make sense, but we're going to keep going. It's a well-written article. I'm mostly just talking about the main points, but it's essentially structured as these are the secret ingredients going into the film. The first ingredient, heart of a bear. Paul King essentially wants to bring through that warm, emotional part of Paddington. He said he likes to make movies that take you somewhere that makes you laugh, makes you cry, and hopefully sends you back out into the world feeling a little more positive.
Oh.
He keeps talking about how emotional he thought the end of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory was. Like, he was surprised at the emotional ending, which I get there is something with the ending of Wonka that feels emotional, but an emotion you can't really put your finger on. It's like that bittersweet nostalgia. There's something bittersweet about the ending of Wonka. Have we talked about that when he's like,
We really
man who got
haven't.
everything he ever wanted, he lived happily ever after. That ending reads as like, it makes me feel the same way I feel when I listen to like some
Wonka is
Beach Boys
sad
songs.
almost. A little melancholy. I understand. Wouldn't it be nice as a haunting song, and people don't talk about that enough?
He also says that the book is set in a storybook London with heightened villains, which it isn't, right? Like it isn't.
Yeah.
By all accounts, Wonka is set in America. Okay.
We went through it. The currency
in America. Wonka could be British,
but
the book is American. You've read the sequels. Please. I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to be like this.
Oh my gosh, this is pure emotion right now.
And there aren't really heightened villains either. Who are the villains?
Yeah, they're children. They're just misbehaving children.
There's a paragraph about chocolate spies. But that's it.
The evil chocolate spies.
He did admit that finding the emotion was harder for Wonka. Which, thank you.
Fair.
But when they realized they could bring his mom in, they were like, oh, we're fucking set.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
He talks about how you always think your mom's cooking is the best. I wrote paragraphs here. Speak for yourself. My mom would agree. She's a terrible cook, and I love her. And he says, and when you eat it again, you kind of feel like a kid. So using that with chocolate for Wonka.
Okay.
That's my rough paraphrasing. That gets about the ideas.
Yes. Which is something we've, like, basically thought about. Like, it was mom's making the chocolate, and then
a family
her
recipe.
ashes are in the chocolate. As we all recall, and then put in the candy.
Oh my god.
In the cane.
I forgot about that bit. Holy shit.
Yeah, that was why. That was like a wild
thing. Episode 2. I re-listened to an old episode and we talked about our ages, and I was 18 and you were 27, and then I just stared at the wall for a minute. I was like, holy fuck. We've been doing this for a while, huh?
I was 27?
Yeah. Are
you fucking I was 27?
I know. I was like, I was 18 when we started.
Oh my god.
We've been doing this for 2 years, Elaine. Oh
my god, I'm 29. Oh my god.
I know, I'm 20. I was like, what the fuck?
What?
The passage of time can be confusing, guys. And
I don't know what to do.
I just appreciate you all being here for us in this trying time. Anyway, here's the most insane quote Paul King said. I thought that Willie was after the taste of childhood in a Proustian way. And after the taste of happiness.
A Proustian way?
What is Proustian?
What is a Proustian?
I don't know. I should have looked it up.
Okay, that makes me feel. I was like, is this a thing that I should know and I don't?
Relating to the characteristics of the French writer Marcel Proust or his works, particularly with reference to the recovery of the lost past and the stimulation of unconscious memory.
Okay.
So that makes more sense.
Nice, yeah.
Wonka vision. Beep, 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 beep. That's another ingredient. Wonka vision. Ooh. They were going to shoot on location. Because of COVID, it was way more limited. So they essentially just built a city.
Wow. Okay.
This is a quote from Paul King. And God bless the Hollywood studios, but I go, I don't know what we're going to do. And they go, we'll just build it. Thank you very much indeed. I shall build it. I shall enjoy building it. I shall call it Paul's Land. That's a quote from
I
him.
shall build it, and I shall enjoy building it, and I shall call it Paul's Land.
Now let's talk about sweet music. Here's some big revelations. Before the project was attached to Paul King, everyone was kind of like, it could be a musical. I don't know. But Paul, he loves the 71 version, and he considers that the Wonka. He was like, well, it's going to have songs, obviously. Because that one has songs, this one's going to have songs. So there you go. This article said, like, there's a single Oompa Loompa played by Hugh Grant, but we know that's not true from the second trailer and reports we've seen online. Yeah. So, like, what I'm saying is we're doing the hard fucking work out here. It would be great if we could be fucking cited. We're like, we're like the master doc. I just expect any journalist to listen to all 102 episodes before they ever write about Wonka, ever.
Yeah. The Wonka erotica episodes
is so important for your research.
So important. Genuinely.
But, okay, here's the thing. It does fully feature pure imagination.
Okay.
Which I didn't think they do, so you're probably right with your whole thing about pure imagination. But they just took that and the Oompa Loompa song, because as Paul King said, why wouldn't you when they're so good? I wouldn't do bad to a man that makes chocolate so good. Sorry, that got summoned from me. I mean, do you remember that from the Scrunch and Oompas commercial?
Oh my god!
I would never do bad to a man who makes chocolate so good. But yeah, it does fully have pure imagination. Which is this bad? I'm kind of disappointed by. Like, I'm glad it's going to be in there because it is a banger song. But I kind of wanted just as much new material as we could, you know?
No, I think that's fair. But I also feel like I understand that, like, to make this movie and not have it, people probably would have had an outcry, even though it's different. Because you just think of the Broadway when they originally didn't have it, and they were like, which, to be fair, was like, you know, the main plot. This is a different plot. But I understand, in addition, that might be a good thing to not have people be so angry, because we're already...
No, I agree. Yeah.
Having feelings about Timothée Chalamet as Wonka, which would have happened with anybody, except maybe Dev Patel. But, you know, I'm on my Dev Patel kick. It kicked up again. It comes and goes, and we're in...
Did we trigger it with Henry Sugar?
Yeah, actually, we did. We did.
You're welcome. I am looking forward to the episode where we get to go through all the lyrics of this movie, because it is going to be interesting, because Paul King said it's really hard to find words that rhyme with chocolate. And he said, I mean, we use pocklet, as in put your hand in your pocklet.
We're having that kind of level of music.
Pocklet, as in put your hand in your pocklet.
You know, it's funny, because we've talked about
charming.
this.
It's charming. But come on, man.
It's interesting, because we've kind of talked about, we've never fully addressed that these songs could all be shitty, and what if the songs ruin the movie?
I know.
That could be horrible if the movie itself is fine, and I'm a musical girl. I love a good musical. But that would be devastating. Apocalypse.
I know.
Apocalypse.
Winning charisma. So according to this article, Call Me By Your Name is what convinced Paul King Timmy should play Wonka, which is fucking crazy.
That is the most insane place to
I think maybe that was him just saying, like, that's where I saw he had real chops as an actor. Maybe not necessarily Wonka, fair. But it just got kind of spun in that way in the article.
That's hilarious.
Then the article was talking about how, you know, there isn't much about Willy Wonka beyond the books, so it essentially gave Farnaby and King carte blanche to do what they will with his youth. So then this is Paul King talking. He didn't really dig into his past at all, so there was definitely room to explore. The Willy you meet in the book and the movies is a damaged soul who's retreated from the world, and he's pulled up the drawbridge. But he's got to get there somehow. It can be a danger that you go, oh, it's all about how a nice person becomes horrible. Doesn't sound like a great afternoon at the pictures. I think we've avoided it. So he's aware. He's aware of the problem. I think everyone has been like, oh, are they just not seeing the obvious problem? If you look at it for more than 3 seconds, you're going to be aware of the problem. Like, I don't think I don't think you'd go through and be like, hey, wait a minute, hold on. Like, 8 months into production. Like,
yeah, you have a little moment, you're like, oh, wait, we need to change everything. Oopsies.
Okay, we have one new photo, which this photo didn't really do much for me, but now that I've watched Delicatessen, actually kind of does something for me.
I was having some moments being like, oh.
Especially because this is a photo with Olivia Colman, and I feel like I've been enlightened in regards to Olivia Colman's role in this film by watching Delicatessen. So we have this thing where Olivia Colman, she's behind a counter, we have Tom Davis sitting angrily in an armchair in the background, and she is holding what looks to be a giant contract, which I assume is the contract for Willy Wonka staying at the apartment, right? And he looks concerned, like, what do you mean? I didn't have a bonk on the head. You know, these are like the 3 Wonka lines we have.
I'm not wearing a top hat because I had a bonk on the head.
And you know what? This is when they're probably first meeting. He has the top hat on. That means my fucking teapot prediction is coming good.
Pretty solid. Okay, I would like to note, there is still a vein you can see, but from a side angle, the top hat, the back half is a little better. It's still too wide, actually. I was gonna say it kind of looks better, but it kind of doesn't. I still don't like it. I tried for you, Felicia.
I'm assuming it's a contract. It's got to be long contract.
It's got a lease agreement, vibe. Yeah. He's got a pen under his little clipboard thing or whatever that is.
When you say pen, I'm so used to you going into Peñas, and I was like, what do you mean?
He's got a little Peñas under that lease agreement.
World-beating chocolate. So we talked about the chocolate maker and the physical chocolate again. He said, I just assumed there would be a prop and taste like cardboard, but they went, oh, meet Gabriella. She's our chocolate maker. And they look incredible because this woman is a genius. She'd go, I put a little twist of pomegranate in there just to cut through the sweetness. You really don't need to, but thank you.
Yeah.
So
I do love that for a movie. It's like, nobody had this flavor, and it's like, that's very sweet. No one's gonna taste it. I love that so much. That brings me like so much joy.
Very lovely. Okay, King also admits that he and Farnaby had a whale of a time coming up with their own spins on the sweets and chocolates worthy of the Wonka name. So now we get a Wonka OG candy, which now we know what the Thundercloud candy is. I think my favorite one is the silver lining. We thought you could make a silver lining of condensed thunderclouds and liquid sunlight, and when you eat it, it makes you see the positive side and see that glimmer of hope beyond the darkness and despair. And what I wrote is, ours aren't so fucking crazy now, huh?
No.
Because
honestly.
you know what this reminded me of? The preconceived conceptions pastry. Yes! And the warm fuzzies. This is the warm fuzzies. We are on the pulse.
Also, another name for this could possibly be Prozac. Or cocaine.
Wow. Again, not beating the drug allegations.
Everything is just
Which Wonka candy is most likely to cause ego death?
Because really, like, at that point, that chocolate could become addicting. Even if, like... I love that, though. That is fun. And yes, it makes me feel better. Itty bitty titty toffee.
A big dollop of Paul King is the last ingredient. When you ask him to describe the element that links all his films and television together, he laughs. Incompetence. Even though we spent all this money to make it look polished and professional, it still never looks like a film a proper grown-up would make. I keep trying to erode all traces of my personality.
Oh my god, whoa.
Wonka may be as personal and as idiosyncratic as you can get for a movie costing over $100 million. It's not a willful attempt to build a brand or a style, he says. I want to make films that have, hopefully, some visual fun and that take you on a ride. I'm not very interested in the real world. Clearly. Sorry, there was a wide open door. I just had to.
That was good. Oh my gosh,
he is a man who wears his influence on his sleeve. For Wonka, there's Doll, but there's also Fred Astaire. He just really likes Fred Astaire. I didn't know that. So that's why he's making the Fred Astaire biopic with Tom Holland. And then he said, I'm always thinking about Delicatessen, my formative movie, says King. Having comprehensively homaged Amelie in the Paddington movies, I'm now homaging Delicatessen. One day I must write a letter of apology to Monsieur Genet. So, that's why we're here today.
Wow.
I found a blog post just to give us the idea so that you guys don't think we're wild for what we're about to talk about what he means when he says he homaged Amelie in Paddington. There's this blog post from the website samedamnmovie.com which goes through the examples, which it's not like a full copying of the movie, but I do think an homage is the right word for it,
Yes.
Like it is.
Yeah.
It's like both movies, in the beginning, we learn that both father figures enjoy bringing order to their everyday tools, whereas mothers can be found cleaning out the contents of their purse, which is pretty thing. And then early in the movie, the lead character each has to find an unknown person with a known name somewhere in the city. Naturally, they start with the phone book and cross out the list of names. There's a scenario in both where a central female character imagines herself as a nun, which is wild.
That's wild. That's a wild one.
They have the same color palette, which Wonka and Delicatessen do have the same color palette. I mean, you can't really... I mean, immediately it's obvious. There are scenes featuring antique fairgrounds in both, vaulted train stations, metro stations, women's in disguises at public phone boxes. Both movies involve characters being fooled by new messages created from chopped-up originals. The lead character helps a gentleman find love with a lady who works at a kiosk within an easy line of sight. And both movies close with the turning pages of a scrapbook. So... there's a lot of little similarities. That's not all of them, but that's most of them. So that's kind of what we were watching this movie from. We both read the article, and as we watched the movie, we're looking for little things that could glean us information. And I will say, watching this movie with that in mind was very fun. I don't know if I would have liked the movie that much. Like, I thought it was good. Neutral. I don't really have any feelings about the movie. I have opinions on watching it as a Wonka information gathering experience.
It became bearable for me. It's not like a bad movie. It's just not my vibe. And but it was a lot more fun trying to like sleuth things. I love a good sleuth.
It felt like a look and find where we didn't know where we were looking for.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll give you the brief description of the movie. There is a butcher who owns a rundown apartment building in post-apocalyptic France. The building is in constant need of handymen because the butcher routinely butchers them and sells them as food. The latest in a long line of disposable workers is Louison, a former circus clown desperate for work and lodging. But this time, the butcher's plan hits a snag when his young daughter falls head over heels for the lovable Louison. So there we go. I guess we just jump right into the movie. So the inspiration is obvious immediately, like in the color palette and the everything. It opens with this guy sharpening a knife really intensely, and you kind of move through the bowels of this building, and we see this other guy, like, listening in through the pipes. This guy tapes himself up with a bunch of garbage and then hides in a trash can, essentially trying to escape, but the butcher guy catches him, brings him back inside, and kills him. And then we get the title card, which is what? Shiny gold paper.
Boom.
Boom. But I do have to say, I actually think the opening was
Better
the
font.
best part of the movie. Well, yeah, better font. But I liked this opening. It was my favorite part of the movie. I think it was, like, really tight and good and explained things great and was really interesting.
Yeah, it really, you were like, oh, that's what we do here. Okay.
Yeah. And you know what I noticed? The credits are different things on his desk. And you know what this reminded me of?
Bunny
The
in
Bunny
the
in the Bowl.
That's,
The
I remember
Bunny in the
thinking
Bowl.
that. The Bunny in the Bowl. It had a very similar,
Because
like,
I was like,
chaotic,
this seems like
messy
something.
vibe.
The Bunny in the Bowl. This is the Bunny in the Bowl.
Which
So-
obviously he wouldn't bring up in that interview, but I feel like Delicatessen might have also...
been an inspo for Bunny in the Bowl. Bunny in the Bowl is fucking crazy, though. That movie's nuts.
Yeah.
I like
That
scrubbed
movie
it
is
from
so
my
fucking
memory.
wild.
The
The
full
weird,
frontal.
like, stop motion car Hot Wheels mountain moment.
the paper
I go back to
buildings
that
for
from
no
time to time.
fucking reason.
The non-dramatic way of Bunny getting hit by a bowl, and you're like, oh, that's the title. Bunny in the Bowl. Oh, okay.
It's a weird fucking flick.
Yeah, but it clearly, I mean, yeah, so that just goes
Yeah.
to show he loves this movie.
Right, so it is good for us to go in. So grain is the currency in this world. A guy gets dropped off at the Delicatessen, which is our main guy, Louison, by a taxi driver, and he only has lentils to pay with, which isn't enough, so he has to give up his shoes. And I genuinely think that the Olivia Colman butcher, like, washerwoman character is modeled after this. Like,
Same.
There's no way, because basically the butcher only hires people to be a helper around the building and get a room. He originally gets turned away because he's not beefy enough, but the guy decides to let him stay as long as he busts ass. And I quote what he says. But I do wonder, do you think Wonka's gonna have to, like, do things around the building, you know?
I feel like maybe.
This
And
also made me have a theory. Do you think that Noodle is, like, their adopted daughter?
Maybe. I'm thinking, like, Noodle might be an orphan. And
I know she is an orphan, but are they, like, trying to be her parents? That's the only
I
thing.
don't know.
'Cause
See,
there was
that gives me Les Mis vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Because they definitely have, like, I think we've talked about this before. They definitely have a front. Like, they are doing illegal activity.
They're doing Master of the House at karaoke night.
Yeah, exactly. So I agree with you. I think there's some kind of, I don't know if she's, like, fully adopted, but, like, their ward, so to speak.
I was wondering if it might be that, just because we have, like, the person who owns it and their kid also lives there.
Yeah.
Which I did not realize he was her dad for a while. I was like, really?
They kind of hid that for a bit.
They kind of seemed to be, I didn't think she was that young.
Yeah. No. It was weird.
It didn't make
There was
sense
a lot
to
of
me.
weird. It took me a really long time to figure out who everyone was, like, related to and who was hanging out with. I got stuck
don't know
on
if
Frog Guy.
Yeah, Frog Guy. I'll be honest, I don't think I really got all that. I'm not going to pretend I did. I was really tired when I watched this.
It was a lot. It was a lot. Yeah.
But I do think, I wonder if that contract is, like, him having to do little small jobs around the place and having found
I could see
that.
that.
Or she's very strict and has very strict rules about what can happen in her building. Do you know what I mean?
no
Like,
magic. No
no magic.
No,
no
happiness.
teapots. No hats.
Because we
I
have the
hate
theme
your hat.
again of
Take it off.
no daydream. Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
your hat. And he's like, but the hat.
But I like my hat.
I like my
Aw,
hat so
I like my hat.
much.
So then we meet these two guys who live in the building and make cow noise shakers. And they talk about the new person.
Oh, that was wild.
That was kind of fun. I never thought about how those were made, so it was fun. And then there's some kids on the
Yeah.
stairs smoking a cigarette. Very French.
So French indeed.
So French. And then the main dude entertains them with some sick-ass bubbles.
The bubbleography was stunning.
Beautiful. Do we think
I would
there's
love
going to
to
be
see
some
some-
bubbleography? There could be.
I would love to see some bubbleography. I could think there could be some bubbleography with candy. Are you kidding me? Someone
Yeah,
could, like,
right?
eat something and then, like, bubbles. I could see Wonka doing that.
So Julie, the daughter of the butcher, comes up the stairs and sees him doing the cool bubbleography. There's another scene where he paints the ceiling of one room and essentially uses his suspenders as a bungee.
That was wild.
Which, if Wonka has suspenders, I bet that's fucking happening.
I can see someone do, like, people doing absurd things to get chores done. I feel like very well will be a theme in Wonka, especially with Olivia Colman's character, seeing as there's a lot, you know.
Oh, wait, I have something to say. Wait, I need to double check because I think a prediction came true that I need to reckon with on the podcast just so that it's on air. I predicted we would hit 275 predictions, and we did on our 100th episode, which made me feel good that it was cutting it close. You know what I mean? There was a reality where we don't get to that many predictions, and that was that was the thing. I didn't want it to be something that would. Let me double check. Yeah, we're at 284 right now because we made a lot.
We have to get to 300.
I predicted that over a year ago. So look at that. Isn't that fun?
Wow.
But yeah, I do agree with you. That's a good potential one. And then basically everyone in the building is doing stuff to the rhythm of the bed creaking of the butcher having sex with this hot lady. She's just
Which
like
is
hot
horrible
lady
to watch.
is her part. Yeah, it's like they don't really make you see it. Thankfully, you just kind of see the bed springs.
Yeah. You see his face, though.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the ending. That was awful. Yeah, that's
literally the worst thing I've ever seen. That, like, shriveled my ovaries and they died. Like, it was, like, literally the most gross thing. I don't know why it offended me so much, but I was like,
yeah, the way this movie
ew.
deals with its female characters didn't feel great. No, like, Julie was cool. She was fine. But, like, multiple characters get, like, harassed and almost assaulted for like no reason.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, I think there's a time and a place for that in film. It wasn't here. It didn't need to be here. It added
wasn't necessary.
Nothing to the plot. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I understand. I think we got the fact that the world is fucked up because of the cannibalism. Like, I don't think we needed the extra element, you know? If we weren't going to engage
some weird
with
post-apocalyptic world that they don't say why it's post-apocalyptic.
Which I kind of enjoy that. I enjoy
Me
that.
too.
I enjoy.
I think it's fun to focus on this like
yourself.
small snippet, and you just would see the outside of this building, and like the sky is this hazy yellow, and
like,
the buildings are decrepit.
Besides Julie, who we have our demure young protagonist, we have a hot lady who has sex a lot. We have a mean, angry lady, a lady who thinks she's insane.
Yeah.
And those are all the female characters.
Yeah.
And old woman. So those are your only options, you know?
Yeah. Not fantastic.
No, it's not the end of the world, but it did, like, I was like, huh, okay. It didn't, it actually felt, you know, here's the thing, I felt really similarly about this movie to how I did about Bunny and the Bull. Like, when I walked away from it, where I'm just like, okay, cool. I like some of the stylistic things you did, but the story did not grab me, and that's okay, you know?
Same. Yeah. That's my same vibe, where it's like, I didn't hate it, but I was like, you know, would have loved to be able to fold my laundry while I watched that. But that's okay.
A guy delivers a package and they all fight over it. It's like sweets that like the butcher sent to his daughter. And then she invites Louison up to her place to eat. It's apparently candy. And then this is when the troglodytes are introduced, who are a vegetarian rebellious group who work underground.
I'm sorry. Factory 4 Sweet Sweet Revenge underground hygiene tunnel. I was also inspired by Delicatessen for
the amount of sewer action in this movie and the amount of sewer action in Wonka was like, man,
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I saw that and I was like, oh, we are getting intense.
We're
tunnels
in the bowels.
Then.
Yeah,
that's what's happening. That brought me joy.
There's a guy who just lives with a bunch of snails and eats the snails. I didn't really get his whole business
and hated him. He did not add anything to the plot aside from showing you. I genuinely, I don't know, that people in this building are quirky, but that was the wildest thing. And he was just raw eating snails, and then like he made his own frog tongue to eat like trap flies with. I was like, it was wild. Like, he has water pouring from the ceilings. Like he is in like 5 inches of water at all times, and all of these frogs are everywhere. Horrible. Yeah. But I also enjoyed it. It might be one of my favorite. I have a lot of like conflicting attitudes at the same time going in this movie. I hated that scene, but I also like loved the chaos of that so much. I guess because I have an affinity for frogs now, but
yeah, which is impressive considering your childhood frog trauma I only learned about very recently.
Yes.
Louison comes up for dinner, and Julie takes off her glasses but ends up not sitting in the spot she practiced. So she's like super clumsy, spilling the tea and stuff. And I did think that was kind of cute. I thought it was
fun.
It was
a cute little moment. They were adorable. They were adorable.
And I liked them together.
I can buy your chemistry, because sometimes in movies and things like this, especially when there's a lot of other things going on, I'm like, you're just
Terry
for the sake
Gilliam's
you have a
Brazil.
woman here to be your. Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Terry Gilliam in Brazil.
It's like, oh, the woman's just there to be the prize. It was like, no, this is fun. Like,
No,
there
she
is
was.
chemistry.
I liked her a lot. She had a lot to do in this. It was just like
Yes.
the rest of it that made me feel weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was like, did I hate all the female characters in this? And I was like, no, I actually liked Julie. I thought she was good and like a person. But everyone else was just like, they didn't feel just not like people. It was just like, yeah, it just felt like kind of careless with it sometimes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know. But they end up playing music together, and she plays the cello and he plays the musical harp.
So cute.
So the way that the butcher draws the helper, he like draws the helpers of the building out. He doesn't just like grab them in the middle of the night. He like lures them out with like an old woman who's like screaming for help. And he didn't hear anything because Julie had been giving him these like like essentially knocking him out with like drugs every night. Yeah. So he wouldn't.
Because I think an important thing to mention for people, there are tubes throughout this entire building, and so the butcher can hear everything, and everybody can hear everything through these tubes. So it's like everyone can just know everybody's business, and nothing is safe, which felt very uncomfortable. And I was like, I thought everyone in the building understood that, but the way they acted made it seem like maybe they don't fully get that, like, the butcher can hear everything. It was very odd, but I love talking through tubes.
Yeah.
That's as someone who does that all the time.
I personally
but I would love to have that in
talking
Wonka.
through tubes. You lose your shit when you go to one of those playgrounds with the echo thingies.
Oh my gosh, when you go into a fancy city hall or museum and they're like, go stand over there and whisper, the people across the way will hear it. I'm like, I'm a little ghost. Like, it's just so fun.
She tries to tell him about this whole situation, and
they're gonna eat him right the fuck up.
Yeah, but he falls asleep immediately. Which now I understand was from the medication and the tea. Yes. I didn't realize that at the time.
She gasped because she actually originally gave him the wrong stuff.
Oh.
So she gasped, and then I think she was like, oh, well, let me keep using that. And yeah, there was a dramatic thing where she's like, why is he asleep? And she looks across the room. She's like, oh no, sucre bleu.
Yeah.
Sucre bleu.
We see the main guy's room. It turns out he's been talking about Dr. Livingstone, who he worked with. And it turns out he was a monkey and that Louison was a circus clown.
I hated the clown bit.
Yeah, and you get the most fucked up dream sequence. I was like, oh, Elaine's gonna hate this. The dream sequence, my God. That was awful. I hated that.
Like that at all.
Just know it was a lot of clown action. Not fun.
Yeah.
There's another lady in the building who hears voices, which I, at this point, was like, oh, they're just somebody else talking through the pipes. Like, pretty obviously. They made it pretty clear. And she's essentially, throughout the movie, has set up giant Rube Goldberg machines to kill herself. But which they keep getting foiled. Yeah.
Yeah, but when they foiled, she does, it's almost like an adrenaline rush thing. Like, she's like, oh, it didn't happen. But she gets this, like, weird, like, stare and starts smiling. She's like, oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. And it's like, what? What is going on?
I don't know what her deal was.
Honestly, no. That was just a wild recurring thing that happened. You're like, but what's actually, who is the one whispering, and why are we okay with like, how has no one else heard it? Everyone,
we found the guy who was whispering, but I don't really remember which one of the guys he was, so it didn't
see, I totally forget, and I watched most of it today. So,
yeah, there was one guy who did do it, but I couldn't remember what his role was. So
a lot of characters were pieces of shit in this movie as well.
There's a lot that happens. This movie has the same thing as Paddington, where a lot of little things that get set up earlier all come good in the finale. Do you know what I mean? Yes. So like there's like a step that is messed up, and then a police officer runs up the step and falls on the step, and that was planted like an hour ago. So it's kind of hard to describe this movie without going to every single little detail, so we're not going to, and you just gotta believe us. If you want to see it, it's good. But I can really see that influence in the Paul King stuff, because especially in Paddington, he really started to plant all those seeds that then all come together in the big finale that come together. So I think, I mean, if Wonka doesn't have the same thing, I'd be shocked. You know what I mean?
Same, yeah.
The main guy, Louison, which I just like saying Louison, is very fun. Louison. He retrieves a pair of stolen ladies' underwear that the little rascals stole. I just say that because, like, on the Amazon Prime, like, cast thing, they were called Rascal 1 and 2, and I like that. But he uses a boomerang knife he calls the Australian, and I was like, that's gonna fucking kill somebody.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
And then there's a guy that comes in with a bunch of black market things, like a bullshit detector, and I honestly wonder if Wonka might have, like, a lie detector that backfires on him. Because you imagine he has it in the room and he's showing it to Noodle, and he says something and it immediately becomes a lie, and he's like, what? Yeah. No.
He's like, oh, it's broken.
Yeah. That would be
Immediately
so Wonka.
closes it and is like, anyway, look at my candy.
Or it would be like something embarrassing where he's like, I totally believe myself, and it's like lie, and it's like a big personal moment, you know?
It's like, oh god.
Wait, if you imagine, oh my god, if he has a lie detector, right?
Yeah.
He says at the beginning these like big things about himself that he believes about himself that he can do, but they're all lies. But when we get to the finale, he truly believes in himself, and the machine doesn't go off.
I love that.
Wouldn't that be great?
That would be fun. He would have to haul around a lie detector.
He's already hugging around this giant briefcase.
That's true.
You know what the
assume
lie
he wants
detector
to
could
put
be? It could be a
everything.
small device like a robot. We don't have to
That's
limit
right.
ourselves.
It could be a little watch. That could be fun.
Is that a
If it's
prediction?
just a little boop, 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 boop.
How do I make that a prediction? Because if it does come true, holy shit!
There will be a lie detector test that is set up in the beginning that will have like a serious moment. It will be a key factor of something near the end of the movie. Could be
There you go.
generalized, loose.
But I kind of want to make the specific one.
Go for it then.
You know what? Who cares? Maybe I will. Basically, our main girl, Julie, goes to the troglodytes and is like, my dad has a shit ton of grain, and I'll help you guys get it if you get Louison out of the building. And then she goes to Louison's room, and his head is on a plate with a knife in it. But no, he was practicing for his next act with Dr. Livingstone.
Which, like, practicing that is just literally sitting with your eyes closed. I was baffled by that. I was like, why are you just alone? Like, how do you practice that? What is practicing sitting on, like, under a dinner table with an axe in your head? There's nothing to practice. That just is.
Okay, we already talked about the butcher using the death of the older lady. I just read a note and finished it with this one when that wasn't accurate. That happens way later. And so he uses the death of this old woman to try and lure Louison downstairs, but another guy goes down and gets half a leg chopped off. And then one of Louison's old performances is on TV, and everybody's watching is like, damn, he's good! Which I don't know why.
It was weird because apparently everyone was getting endeared to him, which you kind of see but don't fully see. I was like, that's interesting. That I don't.
This
I don't
movie was
know
also
how
a
we
tight
ended up-
90. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, they had to like. He
a lot
repaired
with
things,
the
and they were like, actually, that's kind of nice.
kind of
Keep
sick
him.
as fuck.
He's like a little Labrador puppy.
While the troglodytes are breaking in, they're watching his old performances. There's a lot of fun stuff here. The troglodytes use plungers to climb things. I thought that was cool.
Their outfits were wild, also. Just giant garbage bag, one jumper suits with weird lights on their heads. And plungers to suction up and climb things.
So they go upstairs, and the butcher fucks with the TV wire on the roof, and Louison goes to fix it, and Julie's like, no! But there's a big rooftop battle with the TV wire and stuff, and there's one lady downstairs yelling at them to go, more to the right! Which I did like a lot. I thought that was funny. And, like, his water flower, like the flower that clowns wear that spits water came through, that was
so
cool.
good.
Like, this is the thing where all the things that got planted ends up happening. Then it finally is revealed who's doing the ladies, that the voices that one lady is hearing, and her husband accidentally activates one of the traps and blows up the apartment, which knocks the butcher off the roof. It's kind of like a giant Rube Goldberg machine, is this how this movie plays out.
The domino falls and everything just starts.
Yeah. Instead of Louison, the butcher's wife ends up accidentally getting kidnapped. I don't know if she was his wife or just...
I think she was just like lady who needs a place to stay in the apocalypse.
Yeah,
I
probably.
just don't buy that she actually liked him.
Oh,
she
no,
was like,
I don't think so
know.
either. She ends up
like-
getting kidnapped by the troglodytes instead, which leads to some not super fun scenes. So some police officer, I think, finds Julie, casually attempts to assault her, but Louison saves the day by using his boomerang knife to cut down the chandelier, which I was like, the chandelier in Wonka, the chandelier here.
chandelier,
Are we
the
going to have a throwing
chandelier.
knife? Who knows? The cop uses the communication device they're using to lure the troglodytes back up. The whole scene is incredibly convoluted, and I wrote, I get it, but my brain is too tired to try and explain it.
Yes.
So eventually, the main couple floods the bathroom to try to escape. And you know what this reminded me of? The chocolate flooding scene in the Wonka trailer. You know? Right?
Same.
I was like, oh,
I did
oh.
think. I will say in the moment, I was like, that is a crazy idea that you guys have, that you're gonna like just fill up an entire bathroom and almost drown with the hopes that someone might open the door and know that like this flood would come out. I don't know. Of all your options, I was like, window?
He was like, obviously, Julie,
Window?
I know what we must do. And he like starts stripping, and she's like, now?
And rips off her dress, and it's like, what are you doing? Yeah, she's like, what? That was wild. I was like, why? There were probably towels in the bathroom. Why are we using clothes to stop up the door so the water doesn't get out? Which, that was, I don't even know.
When the attackers open the door, the flooded room washes them all away. The floor falls out from the room, so Julie and Louison are stuck up there. The cop tries to shoot them, but the rascals had filled the gun with glue earlier, and it explodes. Right? That's what happened.
Yeah, and I think his hand gets hurt or something. He's just doing a lot of screaming and staring at it. But yeah, they filled it with glue.
The lady who they accidentally kidnapped found her way out and found the Australian knife on the stairs, so she gives it to the butcher to use it to kill Louison. But you need to be skilled to use it, so it just misses him and returns and kills the butcher instead. And the movie ends with Julie and Louison playing the song again together on the roof. Which I was like, this building is... You cannot stay in this building anymore.
No,
this building is about to collapse.
You literally had an entire floor blown out. And
how
the
whole building are you up there?
I get that like some water bursted from the bathroom, but like they should not have been able to go up there because an entire floor below them exploded, like in flames. Like
and
there's
the floor
active
fell
fire,
out.
And the floor fell out. How is anything
well,
standing? And also, why would you stay in that building?
I do think the water might have put out the fire.
Which is
even
wild.
Though that
but like the time between
sense.
that fire starting though, like everyone should have been smoked out or something. Like it was wild. And yeah, his choice of like, let's lock ourselves in a bathroom with no other escape where we're like trapped.
I do think that means that Wonka's solution to the chocolate flooding is going to be embracing the flood in some way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Working with
make
the
a
chaos.
little like a float
and
moment.
again, my chocolate fountain idea comes back.
Chocolate fountain.
Like rerouting it into the sewer system, making everyone drink chocolate water for months.
A weird homage to Augustus Gloop and his tube.
Wonka in the Gloop tube. No, Timothy Chalamet.
I might make that
in
prediction.
This scene, how do you look when you get squeezed like a roll of butter?
Oh my god, wait. Timmy Wonka
has his Gloop tube moment.
He will have his Gloop tube moment.
All right. Shall we? I guess we just got to get into... I mean, do we have our opinions on this movie? I mean, I didn't particularly... I feel actually exactly the way I feel about Bunny and the Bull. Where, like, stylistically, there was some really cool stuff in here. But, like, as a story, didn't personally grab me. I can understand why people might really love it. Just not really for me.
Yeah, I appreciated, honestly, that they didn't drag things out too much. Because I think it would have gotten really boring. I think, like, it was good pacing to keep things very tiny. And to kind of have you flitting between all these different... stories without getting too lost, like more like you were just enjoying what was happening and you really didn't need to know characters' names and everyone's relationships, to be honest, because like I didn't for majority of it. I was like, the lady has a husband? Yeah, I feel pretty neutral about it, but I think it was really cool to get to see probably a lot of things that'll happen in Wonka that I won't be mad to see in Wonka.
Exactly. No, this was a great, like, I felt like it just felt like an exercise almost. Where it's like, we've done all this research for Wonka, and it felt really good that I was able to get stuff from this.
Yeah, I feel like we were actually able to deep dive on something and have real answers, whereas a lot of people might not be able to do this or think to do this, again, without that article one-line throwaway thing he says, you know? It's kind of like, okay. And sometimes we review movies, and it's just because they're tangentially related, and they're still helpful, but I feel like this might be the most...
No, seriously, this was
thing we've done, which also helped me watch it.
Helpful. No, yes. I was watching this and I was like, oh, I'm learning things. This was the most helpful thing we've watched, genuinely. I think I learned a shit ton. Even though the plot, because everyone's like, well, the plot's so different. It's about cannibalism. But no, if you pay attention, though, it's kind of got the vibe. I see what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
I don't feel like spending all the time being like, it's so crazy that he's homaging a movie with cannibalism. I feel like that's boring. Whatever. Like, you know? So, shall we get into predictions? Because I have more than a few, which is embarrassing.
Yeah, let's do it.
Number 1, I think Olivia Colman's character is going to spy on the people lodging there through air vents or plumbing.
Yes.
And isn't there a little scene in the trailer where her eyes are showing through a little hole and then she shoves it closed? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh, wait, yeah.
Isn't that's right? That's going to be like a vent. She's definitely listening in. Do you think she's like a mole? Do you think she's a mole for the chocolate
You know what?
spice?
I bet she's really nosy, and someone else learns she's nosy and want to get like info on Wonka, and so she starts selling that info, and that's how she makes her like black market money. Ooh, I might hop on She Sells Secrets.
All right, what's your next one?
Someone will seem dead, but they aren't dead.
I have a song is going to start from the rhythmic noise of a machine or environmental thing, like the bed in Delicatessen.
Oh, that's good.
Because if they do that, I'm going to be very excited. I think they have
That's
to. It's
really
going to be
good.
I'm going to be so bummed if they don't, because I think that would be great, and it's the perfect movie to have it, you know?
Yes.
Like, where's give me an Etches in Topeka in the Santa Fe. Bring in the Harvey girls. Here's the thing. If they, imagine in the middle of this movie, everything stops, and we get a full 6-minute rendition of the Etches in Topeka in the Santa Fe, I would pay all my money and see it twice. I don't care.
Every fucking wild.
When's the Timothée Chalamet Harvey Girls reboot coming? That's all I'm asking.
Come on.
Do you have another one?
Oh, yeah. Someone will use an unconventional item to climb something. So the way that they use plungers to climb I feel like someone's going to use something weird to climb something.
I have someone will fall asleep impossibly quickly.
Oh, that's good.
You know, like mid-conversation.
I like that. I have someone or some people will full-time be living in the sewer. Whatever tunnel that they end up in, there is someone who is just like, that's where they hang out most of the time.
We're in it.
We are in it.
If we see a sewer,
we're just there with pizza
if we see a
rolls,
sewer and there is a mysterious door in the sewer that they don't touch, we live there. That's our rule.
We live there. That's it.
That's where the Wonka Well's always been. We're in the movie, guys. We watch this movie and we make up a cameo for ourselves.
Fucking hilarious. We just need to do one edit. And that's it. People don't need to know it's fake. They'll just be like, oh my God. Like, are you kidding me? We could totally Photoshop our little heads looking out a window in the sewer being like, us in the crowd as extras.
All right, my next prediction, Wonka is going to have a strange thinking ritual.
Ooh.
I just thought of it with like, I don't know, I just pictured him just like sitting, like he has a very specific thinking ritual. Well, he has a thinking chair.
Sense.
Yeah. I had a thinking chair.
Well, because there's already, I think that's very plus. I know what you're saying, because we already have a quirky, I have an idea, and the light bulb goes off. I could totally see him having a whole, like, weird process where he has to, like, throw balls against a wall and then, like, tap things.
That's what I
mean. Like, a weird, totally
I just could see it happening. And then I'm going to just say my lie detector machine one to remind me to put it in the spreadsheet. Because perfect. I think there might be a lie detector or a candy that indicates a lie, something that indicates, like, a self-belief. And it's one of Wonka's things that works bad on him in the beginning, but then shows him to be good. Like, I think he's going to be having a conversation with Noodle and be like, I even made this. I think I'm one of the best inventors out there. And it's like, lie. And it's like, nope, don't hear that. And it's like a funny bit at first, and then you get to the end, and it doesn't go off. And it's like, man, I really do believe in myself.
You know what I just realized? If we're in tunnels, my prediction that something will scurry and someone will scream is actually highly increased.
Oh, no. I think you have really good chances of a rat will scurry and someone will scream.
Like, and someone will scream.
I really hope it's Timmy. I mean, it has to be with the characters they've laid out. Noodle's like the one with real world experience, and Timmy's this weird, hey, Elaine, isn't this crazy that we've somehow done a podcast with not this, but we've somehow done a podcast with a weird age dynamic as the movie also has? Not saying you're old, but like there is something to be said for that, right?
I don't even know what to do with that, man.
But yeah, no, I think those are all my predictions, I think.
Yeah.
But this was fucking awesome. Oh, bubbleography. Do you want to make your bubbleography prediction?
Yeah, boom. Bubbleography will be part of this movie.
Oh my God, do you think Larry Chucklesworth's a clown?
I think there's
like a retired clown?
Yeah, maybe no like face paint kind of clown, but like slapstick comedy clown. You know what I mean? Like hopefully not fully done up, but I see like, you know, the
I think
flower
this is going to be really specific. Larry Chucklesworth is going to do the cleaver in his head bit. And that's going to be my last prediction.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. I like it.
It's a nod to the movie. I don't know. It's an homage.
Good.
All right.
Beautiful. C'est très belle.
Sacré bleu. This felt like a shockingly helpful episode. I feel like we learned more about this than like the first trailer.
Honestly, weirdly enough, yes. I feel like we've gotten way more.
I'm really glad we got a
chance
to use our investigative journalism muscles, because we spent so much time studying Wonka, and this really made it feel like worth it. That I was able to watch this movie and be like, I see.
Not that the other ones have been a waste of time, but this very much did not feel like a waste of time.
No,
I felt like
very
there
much
was
not.
very much purpose.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang felt like a waste of time.
Let's be honest, that's true. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was a waste of time.
A lot of people in interviews been like, the vibes are giving me very Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, so I'm glad we watched it because people are saying it. And I'm like, if this is a Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the podcast is going to get scary after the movie comes out.
You will not. Oh my gosh.
There's just going to be an episode of us growling into the microphone for
I can't wait to see
straight.
Right. I can't wait to see our emotional state after the movie because I feel like it's just going to be loopy. Did that really happen? And like everyone reckoning with everyone else talking about it finally. And like
we are seeing it
we
together.
already hit a nerve having Wonka Watch as a word mentioned in that article. And that's just the beginning. It's going to be rough and hilarious and fun and lightning. And also just like, I'm curious to see what that looks like. 2024 is going to be really fucking weird.
Yeah. There's going to be a scary recording of us in the car after seeing Wonka. It'll be interesting. How long will it take us to leave the parking lot of the movie theater? That's a prediction. It will. Will it take us
talking about
over
Wonka
an
while
hour?
driving is also a hilarious idea.
I don't think that's. I don't know.
No, I mean not recording it, but I will be driving us,
and we aren't going to.
We're not going to sit in silence. We're not going to listen to ska. On the way home from Wonka, like. I'm like, I have to go to Taco Bell. I don't know what to do. You like panic. I'm like, we go to Target. I don't know.
We're in the drive-thru like, have you seen Wonka?
I'm like, do you want to go to Wonka's? I mean, Wendy's? Fuck.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for listening to this episode of Wonka Watch. What a time we've had. I mean, this was a fruitful journey. If the movie sounded interesting to you, I would say watch it. Like, I think it was good. And I think this movie could hit for people. Like, we just aren't really the audience,
It's not super gory. But there is suggested human meat, but really it's kind of honestly
really tame.
Undertone. Yeah, like
if
you've
seen Bones
really
and All,
this
is nothing.
way less. Yeah,
I expected it to be way worse the way everybody was talking about it. This was almost it felt like cartoon violence.
Yeah, honestly, like you really don't see any gore.
There's like one drop of blood. It's not bad.
Yeah, but there's so
you don't see the meat ever.
You don't even watch like full murder happen. It like cuts to black. So it's not a super gory one.
So thank you everybody for listening to this episode of Wonka Watch. If you enjoyed, you can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Wonka Watch, and you can send us an email at wonkarapture@gmail.com. We always love to hear your thoughts and opinions. If you want to support us, you can do so on buymeacoffee.com/WonkaWatch. We have a membership over there. We just put out our Halloween episode, and we're prepping our stuff for November. If you join our membership over there, you also get a little song on the podcast. But with that all being said,
it was kind of important.
This felt a little important watching it, but at the end of days, it is not important.
Wonka's not important.
Wonka's
overall.
not important.
This was
as a whole, this experiment, again, we started this when we were 18 and 27, and we had an existential crisis about it when we realized it. It's not that important, and that makes it worse.
It's horrible. It's disgusting. It's not that important. Thank you.
Bye,
I feel
guys.
way more intense. Bye.
How do you say bye in French?
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
À
bientôt. Au revoir.
À tout à l'heure.
Bye. Bye.